What's going on, everyone? My name is Eli with Common Sense, and I am joined with my good friend Francesco.
Hey.
Francesco, this is pretty much your first time kind of around and like kind of smelling and sampling different fragrances?
Pretty much. I am a complete novice, yeah.
Okay, in terms of like a scale of like 1 to 10 of like kind of just like starting out as like basic or kind of like getting into it, where would you find yourself?
Maybe 1.5.
That's good. So this is gonna be a great just kind of like beginner's look at 10 different fall fragrances. We're gonna kind of look and rate based off of just how it smells and basically just how you enjoy the fragrance as a whole.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So let's get right into it. So we're gonna start our first fragrance, so I'm just gonna spray a little bit on this tester. All of these fragrances are gonna be fantastic for the fall time. They last generally a really long time, and they're gonna be a little bit warmer, kind of spicy, a little bit sweet. Why don't you give that one a smell?
All right. I definitely like this one.
I have to say it's one of my favorite like beginner fall fragrances. It's just got a really nice warmth. I'd say it's like a mid-level fragrance. It's, I want to say, in like the $80s to $90. This one's got notes of cardamom, lavender. It's got cedar, bergamot, vetiver, and caraway. So you get a bit of sweet kind of like spice from the cardamom, and you get a little bit of herbalness from the lavender. How would you kind of describe that one?
The first thing I thought of was bright, if that makes sense.
Bright, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like a positive, pleasant like aroma.
So that's probably from the bergamot and some of the cardamom as well to get that kind of sweet brightness. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give that?
Ooh, I really like this one, so I'm gonna say probably 8.
8, starting off strong.
Yeah, I like it.
Honestly. But yeah, that's a great solid one for a beginner and basically any level.
Nice.
So that one was YSL La Nuit de l'Eau. Next up on our list is a very interesting one. If you had to give a guess based on the smell, how much would you kind of imagine this would cost?
Ooh, it's another one that I do like. And I know nothing about price ranges for cologne, but since you asked, I'm assuming it's a lot. I'm gonna say maybe in the ballpark of like 100, 120.
That's honestly what to kind of expect to pay for some of the name brand designer fragrances, like if you buy from like a Macy's or somewhere. So this one's gonna be a little bit similar to the previous one because it also has cardamom, it's got lavender, but this one has a bit more. It's got cedar, leather, tonka bean, which is sort of like a warm vanilla, almost like a kind of nuttiness, and it's got coffee and whiskey, a warm like mocha coffee, if that makes sense. The last time I checked, it's about $35 to like $30 for a large bottle like this. So this is actually one of the best like beginner budget-friendly fall fragrances, and it lasts a really long time. If you had to give it a rating, what would you rate it?
It's different from the previous one, but I like it about as much, I think. I would say, I'm gonna say like 7.5.
Awesome. So yeah, that one is Halloween Man X by the house of Jesus Del Pozo.
Did you say Halloween? That makes sense. It has that vibe. This one's interesting. But I definitely see almost like a citrus almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like someone with a little more of a peppy streak, maybe?
I could definitely see that. It's definitely warm. It's kind of dark at the same time, but there are some notes in there that make it really kind of bright at the same time. So for me, this one I absolutely love. Kind of some of the same notes across all of these, but you get cardamom, lavender, you get white pepper, apple, amber, and woody notes. So the woodiness kind of keeps it a little bit kind of natural smelling, but at the same time, the amber, the lavender, and the pepper keep it a little bit kind of almost musky and kind of metallic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's very warm and inviting. But if you had to give it a vote, what would you rate this one?
Ooh, let's see. Man, I do like it. Maybe
And we could totally have like different tastes as well, but for you personally.
I'm gonna put it less than the first one if I'm using that as the standard, but I am gonna say like 7. It's still good.
7, solid. So yeah, this one is called Jet Black Reserve by the house of Michael Malone. Michael Malone makes excellent fragrances. They're a little bit more pricey. I want to say this one was like 120, 110-ish, but you do get a really nice presentation. It feels luxurious, and you get a really long-lasting fragrance for that price.
Yeah. Okay. This one's a little bit fainter. For whatever reason, the first thing my brain went to was like a foggy morning or something. Yeah, I get like a gray color vibe in my mind when I sniff this one.
Well, I can totally see that.
But there is something a little bit like sweet in there beneath it.
Definitely. Would you say it's more of like a bright or kind of a dark fragrance?
To me, it's leaning a little darker. Yeah, at least compared to some of the earlier ones.
So it's kind of dark, but it's also a little bit bright at the same time.
Yeah.
This one, it's got a lot of fruity, kind of citrus, tropical notes up top. You have pear, you have kumquat, which is not really all that common in fragrances. You have lavender and grapefruit that kind of keep it nice and fruity up top. Cardamom in the middle, which is that kind of warmth that you've seen in a lot of these ones. You also have a note called ambergris. That one basically is a very natural, aquatic smelling note that kind of reminds people of the ocean, and it just smells a little bit kind of natural and almost salty.
Yeah, I think that's where I got the fog vibe from, because I even was kind of thinking like a foggy beach or something. So.
And there's also a fragrance accord called amberwood, and so that's also a very aromatic and almost like bright wood, if that makes sense. Kind of airy. But on this one, what would you rate that?
At first, I would have said probably like a 6, but as I've revisited it, I think it's gonna go up to an 8.
An 8?
Yeah,
wow.
I do like that it's kind of subtle, but it does have these notes of like the sweet and kind of the more like foggy stuff. So
this one is actually called Coach for Men by Coach. And so with this one, you can actually find it for around $40, sometimes a little bit cheaper, a little bit more depending on where you get it. So this one definitely is mass pleasing. People are going to enjoy it, and I think it's worth the money for sure. So that was Coach for Men. Oh, well, we're going to be selling this one. All right, so we are on to fragrance number 5. So why don't you give that one a smell?
Ooh, I like this one. I've said that about all of them, but
got an ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I like this one. I'm thinking it's like woodier. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yes, no, it definitely is.
Yeah, I'm getting a woodier scent from this one. I like this one. It's not like too overbearing. It's just like a nice woody scent.
With this one, it shares some of the same notes. You got cardamom, you have some apple, and that's kind of like a staple with some of these. They're kind of that like apple pie kind of gourmandish, just like spice kind of vibe to it. But this one's interesting because it also has fir. It's got akigala wood, which is kind of like a bright aromatic kind of wood at the same time. It smells a little bit synthetic but natural at the same time. It's also got musk, patchouli, and vetiver, as well as cedar. So you're definitely picking up on some more of the woods, like you were saying. To me, that one is kind of like a peppery kind of like sweet vanilla wood, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe you're just like out like with friends, grabbing drinks or something, and you're sitting around the table. That's kind of what I see.
Honestly, that's the exact setting that I've worn it in. Literally just going out with friends, like that is a fantastic one for that.
It's hard to say because when I think back to the first one, that was like this very like.
Would you like to compare them?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's like a different vibe, but they're both really good. So it's like it just depends on the setting.
Right.
So I think they're like both equal within their own like setting. So I kind of have to give this one an 8 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know I'm giving out a lot of those.
No,
but
that's fine. This one is actually from the house of Montblanc, and Montblanc makes a lot of inspired by fragrances. Armani Code is one of them that it's kind of similar to. Versace Eros, you might have heard of those. You can find it for about $35 to $40. I actually found this one for like $27 in a gift set at Marshall's, so sometimes Marshall's be having them deals.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, and that one was Montblanc Legend Night. All right, here is fragrance number 6.
This one's different from the other ones so far. How would I describe that?
It's different, right?
Yeah, I like it, which again, I say that every time, so clearly these are good selections.
Good. Thanks.
But why do I want to say sandy? Does that make any sense?
That makes sense.
Almost grainy in a way.
Grainy.
But I kind of also imagine like autumn leaves or something.
This one is classified as kind of like a warm, spicy, amber, kind of floral.
Okay,
with some woody undertones.
That makes sense. Like the spicy, the floral. That's what I'm trying to get at.
This one has notes of ginger. It's got black cardamom, pink pepper. It's also got orchid and some jasmine. Rose and some other floral notes as well. It's also got sandalwood, black amber, it's got patchouli and leather as well. So it's kind of like all of these natural kind of like interesting notes that kind of combine together to make a really interesting makeup.
I definitely am smelling the floral now that you've said it.
Does that kind of add to it, or does that kind of distract?
For me, like my personal taste, I think I'm more of a woodsy type.
Okay.
So I like some of those more woody ones from earlier.
So this one is from the house of Jo Malone. This one is dark amber and ginger lily.
This is good, but in terms of my own personal tastes, I might have to go 6.5.
Okay, 6.5.
But
would you say this is more of a masculine or a little bit feminine leading? Or is it kind of in the middle? Like, could it go both ways?
I think it could go both ways, but compared to the other ones we've done, it's more feminine to me. But I could definitely see this having, like an audience, like people who like this one. But for me, it's good, but it's like not as good as the other.
Maybe you're looking for something that's a little bit kind of in the middle, I guess. A little bit masculine, but just with a hint of like kind of floral softness. Maybe give this one a try. So yeah, you basically 6.5 for Jo Malone's Dark Amber and Ginger Lily.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna describe this as sharp.
Sharp, definitely.
It's either like minty or piney, I would say. Does that make any sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
Okay,
I
cool.
will say that it's like balsam fir is technically one of the notes in there.
Okay.
So it's a little bit foresty.
That's why I said piney, because it smells like a forest.
Right,
so,
and it's also got juniper berries, green notes, a lot of other kind of woodsy vibes going on.
I like this one a lot. I will say, I think it reminds me more of like Christmas season than like fall.
Okay.
But I do really like this.
Like, would you say this is like for the younger or like slightly mature crowd?
I want to say it's leaning a little bit older than some of these other ones have. Not like old. Yeah, so like if some of those other ones were like teens, early 20s, I think this would be like 30s to 40s maybe.
I have to agree with that. This one definitely is a little bit more mature. It's got sort of a kind of green, earthy vibe. It's also got tobacco, pepper, and basil to give it a little bit of punch to it. Like, it's a little bit strong. It's also got oak moss and patchouli, as well as suede and orris root. So those are kind of notes that you'll find in a lot of classic men's fragrances, like from the 80s, sometimes like even earlier than that. It's kind of a throwback, and it's actually called John Varvatos Vintage. So that's kind of, that kind of goes hand in hand with the kind of notes. It's kind of like a nod almost to the classic style kind of men's fragrances where it's a little bit leathery. It's kind of strong, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's also got rhubarb, lavender, and some other kind of green notes as well. But on this one, what would you give this one as a rating?
Wow, I might actually have to go 9 for this one.
9?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this one's my favorite so far. Like the forest was the first thing I thought of, and I can definitely see this as like a Christmas time type of scent here. So I like it.
Yeah, I definitely get that. This one, the last time I checked, it's around the $50 range. The prices may have gone up, may have gone down a little bit. This one is definitely a little bit more classic, kind of gentleman-like, and it's definitely good for the price, I would say, and it lasts a really long time as well. So that one is John Varvatos Vintage. So for this next one, I'm actually just gonna give you the bottle to sniff because it is strong.
Okay.
Like, literally, if we spray this, the whole room would smell like that.
Good to know.
Kind of exaggerating, but it's very strong. So this one, if you just lift off that top and show them the really cool bottle.
Okay, that's an interesting one. My brain might be a little bit abstract, but I just think of like a kind of purple color when I smell this. Do with that what you want. It's good. It's very different from the other ones. I wouldn't describe it as foresty, but it's like, I like it though, whatever it is. What is it?
This one is actually called Electimuss Summanus. It's kind of like an expert level fragrance. So you've got like the kind of beginner, like fresh ones that a lot of people are gonna like. It's called a niche fragrance. So typically they're made by brands that are very high quality. They have ingredients that they source from all over the world, and it's usually very high quality, very expensive, very long lasting. The bottle itself is like the heaviest thing, and it's like, it's just got some heft to it. Yeah, that one's definitely one of the coolest ones that I think I have.
I gotta like smell it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of sweet in a way. Yeah, okay, sure. So like floral, almost in like this kind of a like creamy way though. I don't know how.
That's a great way to describe it. So this one, it has cardamom, black pepper. It's also got rose. So I think that's what you're kind of picking up on, that kind of slightly like creamy, sweet, kind of floral. You also have amber as well as sandalwood. So sandalwood gives it that sort of warm creaminess. So that's what you're probably picking up. Gaiac wood and cypralol oil. So those two kind of go hand in hand. Basically, Gaiac wood is a very concentrated wood kind of essence, and so it's a little bit smoky, a little bit Middle Eastern kind of spicy. You've got the kind of peppery wood. So that's like kind of how I would describe it. I immediately think of like almost like royalty, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of regal, expensive, kind of luxurious.
That makes sense. I would say it's definitely one of my favorites that we've done so far. I slightly prefer the Pioneer one from earlier, so I'm gonna give this one an 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
All right. Electimuss Summanus with the 8.5.
Ooh, okay. I'm getting ocean vibes, perhaps tropical, sort of a blue-green like image vibe there. So like what it looks like is what it smells like. So
interesting.
And don't ask why my brain wants to translate smells into colors. That's just what happens.
No, that's the thing. There's blue fragrances. There's like kind of blackish, kind of spicy reds. Blue is one that a lot of people will associate with kind of like fruity, kind of almost like shower, like aquatic.
Yeah, I definitely see this as aquatic.
So this one, you mentioned it was kind of tropical, kind of vibey like that. This one has fruit notes. It's got lemon. It's got green, kind of mandarin orange, bergamot. So you're right. It has some citruses up top for sure. It's also got some rose, patchouli, and violet. So a little bit floral in the middle. It also has Gaiac wood, amber, vanilla, and sandalwood. So it's a little bit creamy, sweet at the same time. This one, a lot of people will compare to like a summer oud.
Yeah.
With a lot of oud fragrances, it's really strong, heavy, but this one is done a little bit more like kind of fruity and aquatic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what I get from it. And you mentioned that it's compared to like a summer one, and I do think this feels more summer than fall to me.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I do like it.
But yeah, that one is from a brand that has really nice, high quality ingredients and fragrances for the price. I think I paid $70 for this one. I think you can get it for like 85 new. I have a habit of buying pre-owned ones and like sending offers on Mercari. So if you guys go on there, you can send offers, save a little bit of money by buying pre-owned, because there is no way that I could get to these in an entire lifetime. Save a little money, buy used, and that's one way to kind of expand your collection without breaking the bank. If you had to give it a number, what would you rate it?
Let's go 7.5 for this one. And again, I don't think there's a single one of these that I've disliked.
Nice.
So I would recommend it, especially to me for like a summertime, maybe like, I don't know, chilling on the patio. But yeah, I still prefer kind of those wood or pine ones, but that's just me personally.
Nice. Yeah, that one was Mancera Oud Blue Notes. All right, we are down to our final fragrance.
Ooh.
I sprayed a crap ton on my leg.
Oh no.
Oh well, we smelling like this for days.
This one's interesting. Ooh, okay, what is that gives it that scent? I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying so hard to think of the word here. I want to say it's a little more on the, like, citrus side.
Okay.
But maybe with some, like, wood in there. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's kind of unusual compared to some of these. So, what is the answer? What's in it?
So this one, it's got kind of a lot of notes actually. It's got cardamom, it's got mandarin orange, so that might be the kind of citrus that you were kind of feeling. It's also got saffron, it's got neroli, which is kind of like a white floral. It's also got rose, it's got orange blossom, some other kind of resinous notes, as well as vanilla amber. You got like sandalwood, as well as some other woody notes. And one of the main notes that is in this one that kind of makes it unique is the note of kulfi. So kulfi is actually like an Indian ice cream, and it's known to be kind of like woody, a little bit nutty, and kind of sweet at the same time. Yeah, for this one, you get sort of like a rosy kind of floral sweetness mixed with a little bit of like kind of warm mandarin and some other spices up top, including the saffron, which makes it a little bit kind of spicy.
This one, I almost imagine like an older crowd. I don't know, I feel like it could kind of go for different situations, like just visiting like family or friends or something. It's an interesting scent. It's definitely like different from the other ones.
For sure. If you had to give this one a rating, what would you rate it?
For me, I'm not feeling it as much as the others. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's just like not my favorite.
Sure.
So I'm probably gonna have to give it a 6.
A 6, okay. There's different tastes for everybody. Some people are gonna like different things. Like I personally like this one, and my mom can't stand it. She thinks it smells a little bit like old school, and she even compared it to like an older fragrance that her mom actually wore.
Because I was thinking like grandparent age.
Okay.
Like, people, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like for my, being a 24-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't necessarily like that. Wouldn't be my go-to. But there are things to like about it for sure.
It definitely does give a more mature vibe, and I feel sometimes a little bit more mature when I wear this, or if I'm around people who are older than me, it feels like I kind of like fill in that like gap, And that one is called Noir Extreme by Tom Ford. So currently we have John Varvatos Vintage as our winner, and a close runner-up is Electimuss Summanus. So these two are definitely very interesting because you have like one of the most expensive ones and one that's like a really nice budget one. Yeah,
I would say this one, again, as an amateur, would recommend this one as like a good like Christmas time, like winter kind of scent to bring in some of that those pine notes, some of that festivity, but it's also like mature at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like dignified, if that makes sense. And then the other one,
Summanus.
This one, like earlier, you mentioned royalty. I think that fits. It's a really unique scent, and it is very powerful. It's soft but powerful at the same time. I think it's a really nice scent.
But yeah, this one I think is one of my favorite ones out of my whole collection. That one is also a really solid choice. Great budget friendly, it's strong, it's gonna project, and it's kind of vintage like the name suggests. Definitely kind of warm, kind of woodsy at the same time, but definitely a great choice for your #1 spot. So that wraps up today's video. Again, let's give a round of applause for Francesco for joining today.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun to be here.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you liked the video, please consider liking, consider subscribing, and I have been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. Oh man, how do you even say those?
Is it like one of those French ones?
What even is that? Quince?
Quinceañera?
Yeah. What is a quince?